What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode here at the Masculine Health Solutions podcast. And today we will be talking about Kegels. Kegels and how they benefit you. Usually it's associated with women and pregnancy and issues that have come up more regarding the vagina. But in this case, we're going to find out how it affects us as men and how it benefits us to have a strong PC and BC muscle. How to make our pelvic floor muscles stronger so it can help us out with penis enhancement, controlling our urine, and many, many other positive benefits. All right, let's dive into this one. All right. Welcome to another episode, and I'm glad that you are here with me today. And today on the podcast, we'll be discussing the benefits of doing Kegels, and I also shed a little bit of light on what happens when you overdo it. My personal experience with doing a little bit too much and overworking your PC muscle to the point where, doing this, and the whole point behind doing Kegel exercises for the most part for men is to be able to control ejaculation. But in my case, I went out and did the opposite by overtraining and overworking the muscle, which is not something you want to do. But I'll discuss that at the end of it. First, let's get into what Kegels are and how they can benefit you and what the actual intention is behind doing said workout, or like I said, exercise in this case. First and foremost, we got to acknowledge the fact that Kegels were discovered by none other than a dude named Dr. Arnold Kegel. And his whole thing, like I said before, and why it's often attributed to pregnancy, is that it was developed to help women tighten their vaginal muscles and basically have the ability to regain bladder control after birth, right? And the reason for that is that, hey, after pregnancy, things get a little bit loose down there. So, he found that doing these exercises was beneficial in having women, basically gain control over that again, instead of, just letting it all, it's like, it happens, sometimes a woman will sneeze and, all of a sudden, next thing you know, she's got to go and clean herself up. And these things happen. It's natural. It's just human anatomy, man. But that was kind of the main reasons why he designed these exercises for women. And if you do want to get you, I wouldn't necessarily want to tell you, woman, hey, you're loose. I got you these here yoni balls that you can use to control. But they do exist. There are different things that they can put in their vaginas to basically squeeze up and strengthen the muscle there, right? And the more they strengthen the muscle, obviously, the tighter it becomes, and the more control they have. Right now, on the flip side, Kegel exercise for us men are a great way to improve basically the stiffness, the hardness, man. I mean, the juice in your erection. If you want to be able to make sure that you're able to keep your penis harder for longer, you definitely want to be able, or you want to strengthen your pelvic floor muscles, right? The thing is, if your pelvic floor is weak, you will not be able to sustain an erection, much less sustain an erection for a long time, because those muscles have not been strengthened, right? There's different factors that can lead to this happening, but for the most part, the deterioration that occurs is usually due to age. The other thing that we got to keep in mind is if you don't train something, it's just going to be floppy. It's going to be a weak muscle like any other muscle in the body. So in strengthening the pelvic floor muscle and the pelvic floor in general, the PC or the BC muscle, you're going to have the ability to create a stronger foundation so that your erection can basically say, hey, you know what? I can chill hard for longer because I'm properly supported, which is what you want here, right? And just basically doing these exercises, what I was alluding to earlier more than anything is that you just have to be able to do it in moderation. You don't want to go over the top when you do start doing them. And then if you've never done them before and you feel like it's almost too intense, you got to know when to back off too, because you don't want to strain a pelvic floor muscle. I mean, I haven't really heard about that, but it's a possibility. It's a possibility that you don't want to do. And there's different ways to go about it. There's different ways that you can strengthen it. What I found is for some guys who have difficulty even recognizing where it's at, is that the best way to go about it right off the bat is just basically go, and next time you're taking a piss, just squeeze the muscle so the urine stops. Congratulations. You just found your PC muscle. Now, over time, when you strengthen it, you will be able to stop ejaculations by using the same method, right? It's the PC muscle at work. That's all it is. Now, when you're peeing at the same time, or not at the same time, but any other time, or if you want to do it in the same go, try to push it out, right? Try to push that piss out. When you really squeeze down there and, you know, really feel that push. When you're pushing it out, that is the BC muscle at work, right? Now, you want to make sure that you have both of these muscles in your pelvic floor well balanced and well developed, right? Because this is what will give you the ability to sustain an erection for longer, but also be able to control your ejaculation, right? And there are various methods that you can control your ejaculation, but if you get to no man's land and you're at the point of no return where you're about to bust a nut, hey man, that's when you really clamp down with your PC muscle and you stop it from happening. But in doing so, you have that backup, you have that insurance plan almost, right? And obviously you do want to do your edging, and you can obviously mix up doing your Kegels in there as well. But, there's other ways that we can exercise the Kegel. First off, the one thing that I would say is that next time not at the gym, but you can do it at home. Over time, you don't want to squeeze your glutes while you're working your PC muscle. But hey, when you're starting off, it's a great way to kind of recognize that it's there and really get the most squeeze out of it. So what I would recommend is just do a body weight squat, stand up, and then squeeze right at the top, right? Squeeze at the top and then go down, do your next squat. You get a good leg workout, and you get those pelvic floor muscles at work too. 4 sets of 10, holding for about 2 seconds would be sufficient. Over time, you could obviously increase it. And in doing so, you will now develop, you'll get more endurance developed into your pelvic floor muscle, which is beneficial and which will help to treat, any sexual dysfunction you may have. I'm not going to say that it's a go-to end-all, remedy for everything sexual dysfunction related, but it will help out, right? A lot of guys that do have weak pelvic floor muscles, hey, you're going to get a harder erection from just doing this, which is why I always recommend it in our programs. And if you do want to check out the Masculine Health Solutions program, just be sure to click the link in the description, where Kegels are obviously involved, because they are a very, very important factor in enhancement and overall performance, right? So there's a lot of different benefits that you'll get from Kegels. Number one is that you will definitely see an improvement in your erection quality and function, right? You'll definitely see that your penis will become a lot harder. I mean, and one of the byproducts of this is that your libido, oh man, your libido is going to shoot up because, hey, your penis is going to be a little bit harder. Yeah, and sometimes when it's harder, there's more blood flow and no reason boners will occur, kind of the way they did during puberty. So you just got to be mindful of that, and just know that, there's going to be some positive physiological indicators in regards to doing Kegels, right? So it was found that a lot of men too, if you do suffer from premature ejaculation, were able to control and develop. It's almost like you're able to discover your body in the same way that edging will help out as well, right? When you're edging, you get to know your body better. You will know when you get to that point of no return, you're like, all right, you know what? I got to slow this down. I got to slow down this process so I don't ejaculate here because I'm only 30 seconds in or 45 seconds or a minute or whatever it is that you choose to do. When you build that endurance up and you throw in the Kegels as well, it will just help to make your penis harder for longer, stronger, and be able to really know your body better. So when you're having intercourse, you're making sweet, sweet love. You're like, I want to make this last a little bit longer. You slow down, do a Kegel, hold it, relax, and then you go back in. And there you go. It's one of the best things and one of the biggest benefits from doing Kegels properly. And like I said, right off the bat, the harder erections will also help with better penile blood flow. Now, why is this important for us in the enhancement game or enlargement game? Is because the more blood that gets in there, well, the bigger your penis can get, right? So it's not one of those things you want to overlook. A lot of people that I've talked to are just say, there's no point in doing Kegels, man. I'll do 10 Kegels. I'll skip over that. Even myself, when I started off, I was counting, is it really beneficial? But it truly is. It truly is. And it will increase the hardness of your penis. Erect Kegels are an excellent exercise as well, right? But that's one that, you could do that right out the hop, man. And some people have talked about, there was a forum thread that I read about where the gentleman actually made girth gains from strictly adding erect Kegels. Strictly erect Kegels, man. That's all he added, right? At the end of his workout, he would do 50, and eventually he added a towel, and then he added 2 towels, and then he added 3 towels. Then he said just like would wet a towel. But, he had a little bit more resistance, but it wasn't huge, right? And in doing so, he made his pelvic floor muscle, and I can imagine, well, he did describe the fact that his erections were stronger, and obviously, you know what? More blood flow, stronger muscle. That's probably going to result in a bigger, harder penis and a much stronger erection, right? So Kegels are extremely beneficial in that regard. Kegels will also help to increase the ejaculation force, right? So, that's when you're busting your nut, you're having your orgasm. It's that violent contraction that feels oh so good, which obviously you probably want more of. I know I do. Right? And Kegels will benefit you in that regard as well, because you will be able to have, harder, stronger erections, right? And if you are looking to maybe bust your nut further, it'll help you out in that regard as well. I don't know if that's on everybody's mind or if that's on everybody's agenda, but it is beneficial in that regard as well. It will also help with the volume that comes out of your penis, out of your penis during ejaculation as well. So it's extremely beneficial in that regard, and it will also help you to control your orgasm, like we talked about before. It will help you in that you will develop better endurance, right? Your sexual stamina will be through the roof. You combine it with edging, and it's extremely beneficial, right? So it's definitely something that you want to take advantage of, man. It's free. It's a great exercise. And like I mentioned before, with the fact that you're able to increase blood flow, it's only going to help you when you're doing your enhancement, enlargement workout, whichever one, regardless of what your program is. You could be doing JP's 90-day program. You could be doing any of the other programs that involve pumping or clamping, whatever, right? It doesn't really matter what you decide to go with, but if you throw in Kegels, man, the blood flow that you are going to get from it is going to be an added plus. Like I said, I can't harp on how well or how good this exercise is for you if you want to make sure that you develop A, a strong pelvic floor, and B, a bigger penis, right? Which is something that is very important, right? And another thing to keep in mind is that it can also help with urinary incontinence in men, right? So it'll just help support the muscles that control the bladder. So if you are getting older in age and you obviously, maybe losing a little bit more control in this, it's something that can definitely help you out in that regard, right? So definitely make sure you don't overlook Kegels. Kegels are extremely beneficial, right? So like I said before, I kind of alluded to a couple couple ways that you go about it. So one, you could definitely do the squats, right? You're just chilling at home. Or you could do it lying just face up, just be chilling at home. For a lot of guys, this is usually the position they're having sex in, or even if I guess you want to concentrate on doggy style, you want to just stand up and do it. It's truly up to you, right? You could try to do it with your glute bridges too, at the top of the motion. When you get right to the top and just squeeze there, you'll definitely feel a stronger contraction from doing it. And you'll obviously get your glutes involved as well. Eventually, you do want to make sure that you isolate the muscle itself and concentrate just on the squeeze of the muscle, just the PC muscle, just the pelvic floor muscle, no glutes involved. But obviously in times of distress or in times of need where you feel like you're truly going to ejaculate, hey man, throw your glutes in there too. Make sure you get the most out of stopping that ejaculation from occurring. Right? So I would say when it comes to doing the exercise that I recommend in the programs that I have, it's usually about 3 days, about anywhere from 10 to 40 reps, right? But it truly depends on how you want to how you want to go about approaching it. If you feel that it's too much or that it's too little, then you can obviously gauge it to the way that best suits you. And in the way that you think or see that it best fits, your workout, your program, your life, right? Everybody's different. For myself now, like I'll go to the story where I screwed up. For myself, I discovered Kegels and I fell in love, and I was just like, you know what, this is an awesome exercise. And I swear my penis got super hard. My erections were next level. The problem is I got overzealous, and every single day when I'd be driving to work, which is a long drive, I would do Kegels the entire time, right? And I would do Kegels, and I'm just like, yeah, it's getting stronger. And it was getting stronger, right? And I could definitely see a difference. I could feel the difference, right? The one problem is that because it was so overworked, man, I felt like, you know, there were certain positions where I couldn't even go in because I'm just like, oh man, that's it. 30 seconds in, I'm done. And I had to take a step back and see, well, what's the problem here? If these exercises are so beneficial, why am I getting premature ejaculation instead of being able to delay my ejaculation? And the main reason for that was, I just overworked the muscle, right? You overwork the muscle, it's not going to function properly. So I had to take a step back, and for a while, I'm not going to lie, for about a year, I was scared of doing it. I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm not going near that again. As soon as I was able to regain control, do some edging, and just kind of take a step back, I was kind of like, I ain't touching these exercises again. But when I did the research and I learned about how you can do them and how it can benefit you if you do it properly, I reintroduced it into my workout. And the benefits have been good, right? I mean, now I make sure that I take enough time to obviously recover properly and just make sure that I don't overwork any muscle when it comes to PE, any form of enhancement. If you overwork, if you do too much of anything, you know what, you're going to suffer from it. Whether it's marathon pumping, and you're super sore, it's not always beneficial, right? But what I would truly recommend is that, hey, start off with the 3 days a week. Try to do a couple reps here and there. Well, not a couple reps, but do about 2 sets of at least 10 to 20. And over time, you can just start building that up, right? And then, I mean, you could even do 50 Kegels, 80 Kegels, 100 Kegels. It's up to you. You could do it consecutively, or you could do it, you can break it up in reps and sets. It's up to you, right? But at the same time, I just want to make sure you don't overwork it. You don't do too much, that this exercise make you stronger, right? And eventually over time, when you are stronger, you will last longer. I can attest to that now when you do it properly, right? You want to make sure that you don't overdo it. That's all. Right. And I mean, like I said, this exercise is extremely, extremely important for us as men to make sure that we could truly benefit from these workouts, from these exercises. And when it comes to penis enhancement, like I said, it's one of those things that gets overlooked all the time. And people are just like, I really don't need to do that. But the biggest benefit that you will see, like I said before, is the increase in blood flow. And that increase in blood flow, man, it is terrific. And there's nothing that can really beat it. Obviously, you can throw in some enhancement. You can throw in some male enhancement pills that do help you out with that, some supplements. All that stuff is excellent as well. But if you can get the most bang for your buck naturally before introducing supplements, I would highly recommend you go with that, right? It's a great way to just get your foot in the door and just start progressing from there, right? The more blood flow you can get, the bigger your penis will become, which is why when it comes to PE, do not skip over Kegels. They're extremely beneficial, and they're a great way for you to understand your body. Later on, I mean, when I say you're more in the veteran stage of things, you could definitely throw in some DLD blasters. It's an exercise designed by Mike Salvini. You can check it out at mattersofsize.com. Excellent exercise where he actually isolates the PC muscle. And then he does reverse Kegels as well. And this is an excellent exercise if you want to develop length. And it is a great way to keep strengthening your pelvic floor. right? So do not negate the pelvic floor. It's extremely important, and it will help with your PE. It will help with urinary incontinence. And if you want to become multi-orgasmic, it's a great way to go about it. It is. It truly is a great way, because whenever you feel like you're going to just, go over the top, you stop it, halfway through, and you keep going. And believe you me, she's going to have a good time. You're going to have a good time. And well, it's going to make your sex life all kinds of awesome. So be sure to do your Kegels, man. And if you guys have any more questions, anything else you want to know, keep hitting me up on Instagram, guys. And I'm working on getting some interviews in place, because I definitely want to hear from more PE veterans that exist out there. And if you're a PE veteran that's listening to the show, man, hit me up. Hit me up, because I want to learn from you, and I want to learn more from your experiences, guys. All right. Well, that's it for this episode here at the Masculine Health Solutions Podcast. And I hope you take care and stay blessed. And that is it for today's episode on how to do Kegels. Remember, Kegels are beneficial for us men, so do not forget to do them. And if you are, looking to make some good old PE gains, make sure you don't skip over this exercise. Don't do it, man. They're extremely good for you. Again, if you guys got any questions, hit me up on Instagram or check out masculinehealthsolutions.com for all kinds of good information, articles coming to you, and I'll be making sure I can, get as many new glossary terms out there so that you can understand PE better. I just want to simplify it as best as I possibly can so everybody can understand and make the most out of this, and benefit from this truly wonderful thing that exists that for some reason that I don't know, people just tend to skip over and say it's crazy. But it is possible, guys. It is possible. So make sure you hit me up. Let me know what else you guys want to learn about. And I'll be sure to do that either on the show or on the website. All right. Until next time.